our officers under Interior, which is working well, but with some of the challenges you have highlighted. If our staff complement and establishment is worked on, then we take full accountability, come up with processes and procedures that are agreed on, and we get real-time reports. We know we have NDMA officers on the ground, but probably not enough. And we have a whole organogram that we are proposing. We shall share with the committee and see how we can strengthen the whole of this process. But a lot of work is going on in that regard. Let me allow the two gentlemen to respond, but before that, I wanted to talk about the long-term measures that the government is working on, because droughts will not end with this one. Climate change is real, but we cannot always be at the same crisis, the same emergencies. And His Excellency the President, and even the plan and the manifesto, there's a whole chapter on the dams, because drought is lack of water, the provision of dams. The plan to have about 1,000 dams, starting with 100 dams. I have had a meeting with the Ministry of Water, wanting to see which dams will go to the ourselves, because they are the ones that are suffering most. I've also seen plans on boreholes. In fact, the private sector-led drought steering committee is right now working on about 360 boreholes. And so we are working, and when we have a retreat on, or when the long-term measures on ending drought emergencies are fully completed, we will share with the committee. But to assure you that a lot of work is going on in the ministry. We have a lot of support from development partners. USAID is a strong one, World Food Program. The EU, in fact, we are launching some grants from the EU to build some of the dams. And so there's a lot of activity, and I'll be very glad to share all the details with this committee, because this is the committee that will support those initiatives, the long-term measures. And it will be good that in your tenure, Chair, we will at least have evidence and show real projects that we have put in place to alleviate the suffering in future of the droughts that may recur. But with your permission, let me allow the CEO of NDMA to respond to that question of the cash transfers and how it overlaps with the actual relief food distribution.
Thank you very much, Chair and Waziri. We, in terms of cash transfer, when the process of registration took place, it is on two levels. It is a system-based registration where the beneficiary answers various questions, and based on that, the person is categorized. When data is generated, then we do what is called community-based validation. We go to the community, up to the world level, up to the village level, have the baraza, put the names on the notice board, and give them 7 days to review. And then we go back in the same baraza, the people will say, yes, so and so is the poorest, so remove so and so. So based on that data is where now people are grouped into two groups, group 1 and group 2. And by extension, those are the poorest, the very poor families within that community. So that's how it is done, the targeting. And that payment of scale up can only come up based on the drought situation. How the drought evolves is when now we undertake the scale up. But I would like to speak to the issue of coordination which the CCS has captured. At the county, there are two levels of coordination, at the national level and the county level. At the national level, NDMA deals with the technical, And the other coordination of the partner, development partners are done by the ministry as well as the DP's office. At the county level, all non-state actors operating. At the moment, we have 92 non-state actors operating in the counties. They are registered through the CAG, where they declare the kind of intervention of the investment that they want to do. And it's the CSG that gives them the go-ahead on the areas to target. So that's when it comes in terms of the intervention. And the chairman of the CSG is the governor, assisted by the county commissioner. And that's why you find whenever we have an intervention, so we declare at the CSG and the governor is there. So he's there to launch that intervention. But there's no law which stops. The coordinated structure has not exempted or has not excluded any leader to attend. I've been to one of a number of CSGs. The MCAs attend, even members of the parliament. So there's no law that will stop you not to attend the CSG. The only thing that you need to maybe to get to know is the calendar of the meetings. They are the program meetings and the impromptu meetings. So if only you can engage the secretariat. NDMA is the secretariat assisted by the deputy county commissioner of that county and the county secretary. So if only you get the schedule of the meeting, is where you go and listen and even air your concern and say, yes, you have targeted this place, but me being the member of parliament, understanding the environment, this place could have been the most ideal. But our targeting, it is informed by a system, the early warning system, where we have categorized even within the county, sub-county up to the ward level. We have categorized the hotspot, including the number of beneficiaries. And that is how the targeting is done, even in terms of even food distribution or cash transfer from other non-state actors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Waziri and Chair. I want to start with the easy one about the delivery of food for the whole month of Ramadan. I would want to confirm that we have developed a list, just like we did last year. Last year we delivered 15,000 bags of food for the whole month of Ramadan. We want to do the same or even more this time now, depending on the resource availability, because we have experienced very severe. So I've moved a lot of food outside. So from next week, Manachair, Madam Waziri here, you start seeing movement of food, particularly you starting with the largely Muslim counties like Mombasa, Wajir, Garissa, Mandera. We start with those ones before we get to Nyeri and Nakuru. So from next week, we shall start the movement for the whole month of Ramadan. Now, about the last mile, as inquired by Honorable Karasinga. The last mile, the structure is that our point of entry is the sub-counties or the district, and some constituencies have more than one sub-county, which is headed by a DC. And we issue relief food, and the consignee is the DCC, or the Deputy County Commissioner. Once we do that, we also allocate resources for the last mile. That is, after the food reaches the sub-county, it is supposed to be distributed now to the wards. And for the arid counties, we issue an AIE of 200,000 Kenya shillings. 200,000 per sub-county. For the semi-arid areas, because they are less vast, we issue 100,000 to the DCC. So the issue of sale of food to compensate that movement is criminal, Mr. Chairman. It cannot be allowed, and should such a thing happen, and that is why, Mr. Chairman, once we issue the letters of allocation, we copy to all the members of parliament We copy to the governor, the PS Interior, we copy to the women rep, and we copy to all the other, and the county commissioner, because he is the one who coordinates. There has been incidences of leakage of relief food. And those cases largely happen in the operational areas, where you are told for you to get there is very difficult. So once somebody moves with the food, it is, we have about 4 cases which are live in court. And one of them is in Huruo, which is I think in Garissa, where somebody was caught on camera rebagging 600 bags of rice. The officer is under interdiction, and my officers also went to give evidence in court in Garissa. So those rotten apples are there, because when you are dealing with human beings. But I want to confirm to this August committee, the incidences are very minimal. They are seriously isolated, and they are in court. They have been in court. There is another one which was in Mogocho involving a chief. It's also in court. So those cases are there, but they should not really mess the 99% of the good. But they are there because we are in a society. Now, about the Mama County being given 50 bags, that certainly did not come from us. It must have come from the CSG, that is the county steering group. And as the local leadership, they are allowed to organize themselves. How much goes to this ward? How much goes to the other ward? Because they have the information about the population affected, and that information is generated by NDMA. And we have been receiving requests by the women MPs of the various counties, because they are representing the entire county, but the food goes to the sub-counties. Now she becomes like, or they become like hostage. Is nowhere, but the MPs have received the food. So that's why we give that copy, for her to ensure that she registers her presence everywhere. And I want to request the members here, when we give these copies of the letters to you, and you find it in your pigeonholes, we do it for purposes of you are ensuring that you participate in the distribution, because this is about representation. DCs have absolutely no authority about who should participate in committees for food relief distribution. If you are not available, please ensure that you send a representative. There is no way. They can resist, but it is not their food. It is national government food. We also have had incidences, Madam CS and Shah, where governors, we take food there. In fact, in 2020, we took food to a county which I will not mention. I don't want to mention. And that food was taken by an aircraft, which was donated by World Food Program for 30 days. But the governor had the audacity of taking pictures with that food and the aircraft, and posted on his social media platform about how, about his, contribution, magnanimity of His Excellency the Governor, and he is positioning himself there with the aircraft and the food. So these are the kind of challenges that we have about the visibility. The government does a lot, and I think on behalf of Waziri, I would want to request you to assist Waziri and the national government visibility. Because when an MP appears, that's national government. We are being outcrowded there by MCAs and the governors, who are another tier of government. So I think your participation here is critical, is crucial, because like now what we have distributed, until the CS now started moving out, nobody was talking about it. Yet Red Cross will do a few things with the money we have given and position themselves to the whole world like they are doing a lot. So I think there is a lot of conversation that needs to go on, CS, and that require that we we have this conversation and progress it. I want to rest there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think before you exit, the issue was that last mile collection of or distribution of food. Now you're saying in some counties the AIE is about 200,000, in others semi-arid, arid to 100. Now when these funds are not or are not coming in time, for that location, yours is 20 bucks or 50. So if such chief is given, so he has now to look for ways of moving 50 bucks of rice and maybe beans from point A, which is the county headquarters, to the location of headquarters, which is about 80 kilometers away, and has not been given anything. When he asks the DCC says, I have not received AIE. So look for your own way of ensuring that this food reaches the people. Then his own way now becomes that of you sell now 5 bags so that you can remove the remaining to the people. That's what I was saying.
Same concern. You drop food at the sub-county, at their warehouse, and they use Land Rovers to transport this food to where they want and consume. How do you manage the 200,000? So that you pay the contractor who transports that food. Because we see food on Land Rovers being dropped to areas, and you give them 200,000 shillings. Thank you. And that's government vehicles. We should be free.
Now for my case, whenever they have used, let's say maybe your area is different. For my case, where I come from, it is easy to use government vehicles because they only fuel, and the distances are huge. That money can be used to fuel police lorries, land cruisers, then the food reaches the people without anything in between here. That's for our case. That's what I've seen happen. If they have the money, if they don't have, it's a problem. They can come to us as members of parliament for fuel. So I think very briefly then we end.
Just to add on the issue of AIE's Bwana Chair, I think last 2 weeks we received, I'm talking about my area, we received some food from national government, and we are grateful, Madam CS, for that. At least it was little, but it went a long way in alleviating some of the suffering there. But the problem has been now transporting that food from the sub-county headquarters to the far-flung areas. And I think in the constituency, the far-flung area is about 70 kilometers from the sub-county headquarters. So I had to come in as an MP now to provide transport, because the DCC is telling me, yes, I have an AIE, but there's no money. And the food is there. It lay there for like 5 days. Until we decided I decided to provide transport now. So in fact now it has become like a tradition. Every time food is brought to the sub-county, and they have 2 sub-counties. So every time the food gets there, the DCs call me, they say, now we have food, Mheshimiwa, we want transport. I end up using 300,000 to transport that food too. Yes. So I think we need to do something. First of all, let the AIE come in time. Even if it is 200,000, maybe they can plan themselves how to go about it. And for areas like as vast as where I come from, I think the 200,000 that is put there is not enough. Because I use that maybe only for fuel. Maybe I have the advantage of having a lorry, but I have to fuel that lorry, I have to pay the allowances. Because traversing an area with a radius of almost 100 kilometers, I think that is also putting pressure on the pocket of the MP, which I think this is now your responsibility. You need to take care of that. Otherwise, Madam CS, as you do your tours in the counties, don't forget to come to Kilifi. Thank you, sir. You've been there and I'm not here.
Yeah, so I think if you have anything to say in relation to that, then you can just make a comment and then we close.
Chair and members, we have given firm instructions that the food must arrive the same time as the AIE so that we don't get into this issue of transport problems and food staying longer in the stores because it doesn't serve the purpose it is meant to serve. But thank you, Chair, for this discussion. I want to assure you and the committee members that we are putting our best foot forward. We are doing what we should. We are doing a lot. This is the worst drought in the last 4 decades, and the response has been quite robust. We appreciate the onset of the rains have been announced, but it will take a long time to recover. And so we will continue working with the affected areas so that we provide food for those who are affected. Thank you, Chair, and all the members.
Just give that mic.
She also wants to say something.
Give her. Now that he had not met the remark, we can give him just a half a minute.
Yeah, sure.
To say something.
Mine just brief. Like the system, you find like we've been having a challenge with the new system of giving out fertilizer through the system online things. So I don't know, because you know you might be giving out, but there are some other people who are not aware about the information. So maybe at least, maybe if you can maybe share how ule mtu mwenye ako interior, how does he or she get the information that muna register and all that. Sure.
Thank you very much. I think you have. I think you know that. We wanted to end, but just in a half a minute you can. Just in a half a minute, then.
Thank you, Madam CS, for your responses and team. I look forward to having you in Mandera next week. Yes, and I was timing NDMA for the last 2 months. To my shock, 2 weeks ago, the governor is launching. I am pleased to launch food and feeds for animal feeds, and it's coming from you. Those are the things that we were just not very comfortable with, and the NDMA CEO can attest to it that from November we're following up on the feeds, and we belong to the national government together, and that is where we need just to have the representation coming from. Thank you again. Thank you, Chair, also for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think honorable members and CS and team, I think we have come to the end. Some of the remarks made by colleagues here, you just take note of them, so that it also informs what we should do in future. Otherwise, I want to say that I think we have come to the end of this session, and we sincerely want to thank everybody and you, the CS and the team. We are inviting you for lunch after this in this hotel, and we also meet in Naivasha beginning from tomorrow and Saturday for the now retreat with the committee. So thank you very much. Unless if you have any closing remarks, then if you don't have, then we will end there. But if you have, then we can give you just time to make some maybe closing remarks, then we adjourn the meeting. Madam CS.
Chair, we look forward to interacting with you more tomorrow and Saturday, and I did inform you that our team will be there tomorrow, and I will join on Saturday. Thank you.
So welcome to Naivasha from tomorrow, and welcome for lunch after this. The meeting therefore stands adjourned. Thank you very much.